Hey everyone, it's Jack, and today I'm out at the Ubuntu website. This is a distro that I haven't taken a look at in a long time. Forever, actually. The newest version, as of the time of this video, is 21.04. And so I'm going to go ahead and download this and see what's new in Ubuntu. And then I will go ahead and load it in, and I'll be right back. Okay, here I am. Back on my computer. I got it all installed and everything. I thought I'd spare you the pain of the installer because you've probably seen it 100 times before. So here I am into the new desktop, and right off the bat we got our online account. So it looks like it's kind of continuing the install here, and also a little reminder here that some updated software is available as well. So that sounds cool too. And the overall look looks pretty nice, I gotta say. Very intuitive right off the bat, and so yeah, kind of liking it so far. And on this part, connect online accounts, I think I'm just going to skip that, but it is kind of a nice selection there of choices. And so yes, send the info to Chemical. I guess that's okay. I mean, I'm always okay with things. They're just asking for basic information to help improve a project, and I'm always good with that. I never feel threatened with my privacy in that respect. So yes, let's hit next. And then a little reassurance about the privacy, I think. Oh, this is location services. Okay. Yeah, you know, that's kind of a debatable point. Some people don't like their location known. When it comes to applications like Mozilla and so forth, it really doesn't bother me personally, because sometimes if I'm just looking up some information on something local, it comes in kind of handy. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes to that. And now we're ready to go. Excellent. So it looks like it's kind of giving us a little preview of some of the apps that we can go ahead and install. I'm going to go ahead and open software now. I'm kind of curious to see how their software center looks after all this time. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. And since we got the software updater here, I think I'm going to go ahead and let that do its thing too. So there's the software catalog. And then over here, I'm going to just go ahead and hit install now. And I got to say right off the bat, I have a really good first impression overall. Okay, so here it's asking for confirmation. So I'm going to go ahead and hit install now and let it do the updates there. And so that looks like it's all going pretty good, smooth. And our software explorer here looks really nice. I kind of like this App Store layout. Very nice. Even devices and Internet of Things. Wow. So a lot of categories. That's impressive. And then the editor's picks up here at Blender. Those are some of the things that I would use. And so let's see what's under art and design, just for the heck of it here. Nothing. Okay. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and close this ready to go app here. There we go. Okay, I just needed to give it a minute. I thought, so it's populating everything. It's probably got a little database in there too that needs to populate. So I'm all good with that. Wow, Bob Ross quotes. That's kind of unique. That's cool, actually. Sweet Home 3D, FreeCAD, Inkscape, GNU Image. That's cool. So a lot of these are already in here. And I'm assuming that's not installed because we have an installer here. And I'm just going to kind of look in. So it looks like it's Snapcraft. So it appears to be using Snap here on a lot of these. And I like that because then I can feel like I'm getting the latest version, which on here it's showing 1.1, 2021, 525. So yeah, that looks pretty current to me. That's great. So that's another thing I'm happy to see. That back in the day, of course, you know, if you were using Ubuntu, you were going to be behind on software. And so that was one of the things that kind of turned me off a bit. But with the Snap packaging in here, kind of really does make things a lot nicer. So I'm like really happy to see that. Open Tunes. Nice. That's a cool animation software. So really a nice selection. Not too shabby. Okay. So now we got our software up to date. And out of curiosity, here we have our sidebar. So that kind of reminds me a little bit of the GNOME 3. Series there. That looks kind of nice. We got our activities up here. Very good. Yeah, our bar is pretty standard there with the GNOME 3. Series. And so let's see what's in here. Yeah, some of the typical GNOME stuff that I remember. Cheese and files. Got language support. That's impressive. So let's see what's in here right off the bat. Not installed completely. Okay, well that's all right, actually. But I'm going to go ahead and follow through since I got myself down this rabbit hole now. And it looks like it's trying to find some language packs for LibreOffice, probably. I saw a lot of Libre stuff coming up there. And then there's our regional formats. So yeah, that's kind of where you want to go. iBus, I like that. If you want to use some Pinion, iBus, in my opinion, is a must-have. Pinion, in my opinion. I could make a pun out of that, but yeah. So yes, and LibreOffice is installed by default. I like that they have Romania in here too. That's cool. I'm gonna open that up just to see, and it does. It's got RDP installed with it as well. So that's good to see. Excellent. Yes, I'm liking that. Okay. So if you need to RDP into a Windows box, you're good to go there. And then there's our software startup applications, Shotwell settings. And so if we scroll down into here, we got a startup disk creator. That's always a nice staple to have there. Sudoku. Wow, there's a game I haven't played in a while. Cool. And we got our transmission for our torrent client. Weeble desktop, that was something I was testing out. So that didn't actually come with Ubuntu, but Weeble is a pretty cool platform for trading. However, they are a bit behind when it comes to their desktop application for Linux. They need a little work there. Hopefully they'll fix that. Okay, off of my tangent. So let's see what's in the utilities folder. So there's our system monitor, our disk analyst, usage analyzer, document viewer, archiver, screenshot. Cool. So actually, this doesn't look real heavy as far as loaded software. So I'm kind of liking that, actually. Looks like it's got most of the basics, just your office and stuff like that. If I were going to set this up as a workstation for someone, if I was, working on the job somewhere and we were putting Linux computers in, this would actually be a pretty nice done-for-you setup, because it does have all the basics in here. And the system monitor's looking gnomey. So yeah, and then we got Firefox as our default browser here. So we'll just kind of take a look at that. And then here's the encrypted DNS lookups there, the feature that's in Firefox. And that's kind of a controversial thing. Some people don't really like the idea of their stuff being redirected out to Cloudflare. And yeah, and I don't really know what to think of it. Usually I just disable it. If you have a comment about it that you'd like to chime in regarding this, feel free to leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. Anyways, let's see what the version of our Firefox is real quick. So I'm going to jump in here to help and about, and it looks like we're running 90, so that looks pretty current to me as well. I think Ubuntu has gotten really a lot better with their apps being current, and maybe that has a lot to do with the Snap integration that exists now that didn't way back when I was using them. So AntStream Arcade, I don't know how it got in there, but that looks kind of interesting. That was kind of a happy accident. Let's explore. Officially licensed retro game streaming platform with 1,000+ titles to play. Whoa. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I'm going to click on that install, aren't you? Yeah, I knew you'd think that, but I'm gonna. I have to. It's not that I want to, it's just that I have to. When it comes to arcade stuff, I have no resistance. Arcade games say, resistance is futile, keeper. And they're right. So yeah, I'm gonna go take a look at that. And while that's installing, let's see what else we got. So over here on our sidebar, looks like by default we have our Firefox, of course, Thunderbird email. So you guys that like email clients, Thunderbird is really a pretty decent client. I'm not a user of email clients, so not something I would use, but I know a lot of people do. And we have our files browser, of course, which is always good. And then LibreOffice, and then help. So I suppose help is probably, yeah, your desktop guide if you want to learn a little bit more about Ubuntu and how it works. And so if you're kind of a newbie, that is a nice little reference there. And even if you're not so new, it's always, you can never have too much when it comes to reference. So now it looks like AntStream Arcade is installed, and it's under a proprietary license. Oh well, let's just take a look at this. And speaking of proprietary, I'm just going to kind of leave that off to the side for a minute while we play a little. So there's our AntStream, and I clicked on that baby, and I got exactly nothing. Okay, well, that's impressive. Nice. I like stuff that don't do anything. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, second time's a charm. So I have no idea what I'm looking at here, so I'm just kind of winging this. I never heard of AntStream Arcade, so yeah, call me oblivious, but looks like you gotta log in and create an account and all that. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that or not. I'll think about it. I'll be back. Let's look at some other stuff. So the Software Center is really cool. I think originally they were using like, Synaptics, I think, which I really like. I always thought Synaptics was really a cool, nice software center, even though it didn't really have much visually and no graphics or anything, but it was really fast, really reliable. So, and they probably don't even have that anymore on here, but I'm sure it's still out there available. So let's see what's in our settings. So I pop up here and hit settings. Then we have tons of stuff here. Looks like I'm in my display, but it starts out here in the Wi-Fi. We got our network settings and Bluetooth. Yeah, nice. Just tons of stuff here. Here's our backgrounds. Some pretty cool looking wallpapers there. And Hippo, after the latest naming convention for, and I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. I gotta check that out. I kind of like hippos anyway, so check it out. Hello there, big feller. Please don't eat me. So, anyways, looks like we got, a little bit of wallpaper choices there. Not a whole lot, it doesn't seem, but we got a few. Not really sure what that is. More hippos. Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of liking it. I'm going to keep that. So yeah, there's our wallpapers. Yeah, not a whole lot. Usually I'm used to seeing a lot of papers in there, but no big deal. Then we have our light and our dark and standard. It looks like the standard is kind of like the KDE, where you have the mixture of the light and the dark. And so I like that. I think the standard is just great. And I really like the color convention too, the orange with the dark theme. That's pretty nice. Here we can turn on auto hide if we want to hide our dock when we have something maximized. And that's probably where I would have it actually, because I kind of prefer the dock being out of the way, because having it kind of crunching on your screen there when you got something fully maximized is not my idea of fun. So I'm going to keep that on. I think that's a good setting for it. And you can even set your position on the screen. That's kind of nice too. So we could actually move that on the bottom if you like a bottom type bar. That's really cool. I didn't know you could do that in Ubuntu. So there's something else I learned. So yeah, it has been a long time since I've played with Ubuntu. And we can also put it over on the right. To me, it never made a lot of sense to have it on the right-hand side. Maybe it's because I'm right-handed, and maybe if I was left-handed, it would make more sense. I don't know. But I kind of like the idea you can have that on the bottom too. Yeah, you know, I think I might just leave it there for now. Even though I don't mind it on the side at all, I think I would be just fine with having it over on the left-hand side. And then here we got our notification settings, so we can turn on and off notifications as we please. Always good. And search settings, application, additional drivers. And that's another thing too, drivers. On Ubuntu, I believe there is a setting, I think in your software center. Oops, there's AntStream again. Let me come back to that. So like in your software center, I think there's a setting in there that you can turn on for proprietary drivers. Actually, I did that during the install. It allows you to select for codecs and so forth like that. And I think the proprietary drivers were also one of the options in there, especially if you got an NVIDIA card or something like that. Really any kind of video card, I would really recommend turning on the proprietary drivers, because I think you would do yourself a big favor to have those available. That way you get the maximum support. And actually, I don't think that's in here. I think I'm thinking of more of the Arch-based package managers, but there is something in here, and wow, I noticed that's over on the other side there. So maybe I don't like it on the bottom as much, because that's kind of weird having the application thingy over there, so I'll probably slide that back. Anyway, oh, Livepatch, I think that might be where we want to go. Yeah, okay, helps keep your system secure with security updates. And then up here under additional drivers, I think there's probably something in here that kind of checks your driver state and so forth. And then if you need any proprietary drivers, you can go ahead and, I believe, just kind of take care of it through here. And I'm assuming that if you don't check the box during the install to get the MP3 and other proprietary drivers, they probably give you an option right in here. So here's where you can check those. So you got proprietary drivers for devices, and so you would just check that, and then that will add those repositories for you, so you can get those drivers proprietary. And I would recommend checking that, actually. So, and also the software restricted by copyright, I kind of prefer having that on there too, just in case, you never know. And there's our official version that we're running right now, 21.04, the Pursuit Hippo. And I have no idea if I pronounced that right or not, but that's nice to know that it's installable from a CD-ROM. So that's how you set up your proprietary. Yes. So then, if I come back here in our settings, I'm just going to jump out of applications here. And then we have our privacy settings. Here's where you can turn off the location services if you had a change of heart and you don't want those on anymore. You can go ahead and disable them there when they show up, when and if. And then our sharing settings, and this is pretty cool. You can set it up for screen and media sharing. Ubuntu makes it really easy for that. Another thing they're really good with is connecting into like a Microsoft Active Directory network. So if you have a machine on a network that's running Active Directory, Ubuntu's set up pretty good right out of the box, if I remember correctly, for just connecting and getting on Active Directory. So it really takes a lot of the extra work out of it that you would have to do on some other systems. And that's another big plus, I think, with Ubuntu, is the fact that you can do that so quickly. And then there's our sound settings, and very nice looking setup here, really easy to work with again. And I do like how everything's kind of spread out all in one area. Looks like it's really nice to get to. And got a bark sound. Nice. So pretty cool little sound effects in there. And then we got our power settings here. Blanks the screen for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, personally I like either never or at least 15, but I'm just not a big fan of my screen going blank. And then we got our displays, and I have it set for mirroring right now because I am hooked into my OBS studio, so I need to have both displays mirrored for my video capturing. So it works out nice. And then we're set up for our mouse and natural scrolling. That's something I did on another one I reviewed. I forgot what I was reviewing. It had the natural scrolling setting on there, and I thought that was pretty nice. It feels really good. So I'm turning that back on again. I like that. And then here's where we can set up our keyboard shortcuts. So if you want to be able to use your keyboard just to instantly get to the terminal or to your menu, which is right there, I pressed my super key, and that brought me up into this, I guess you call it the multitasking area, and I can immediately just type and search what I want. So that's pretty handy. I like the fact that I can just bring that up and then just type something in there like Firefox, and except I gotta spell it right, and then just hit enter and off and running. And I gotta say too, this is really snappy. The overall feel is really good, so I think it's really quite good on resources here. We have our removable media, color, region settings, accessibilities, all the standard stuff pretty much. And I'm kind of liking the setup. You know, it really feels GNOME 3X without the BS. I still have my taskbar or my sidebar here that I have instant access to. I don't have to do any extra clicks to get to activity or hit a keystroke just to get to my menu. It's always right there, my sidebar I mean. And so I'm liking that too. To me, I think that's kind of a plus over the GNOME stuff, really. So that's pretty cool. And if I just jump back up here to appearance real quick, I think I'm going to go ahead and position this back over to the left because that's kind of grown on me, and I like the fact that the app launcher is right there. And there's probably a setting, if I looked a little bit, that would maybe move that over. Hard to say, but I'm really good with it over there on the left. So yeah, back she goes. And then here's our user settings. So here's where you can change your avatar if you want to have a new avatar, just by clicking on the little T there. And then you can select your own file or just choose something here to relate to, like oh, I don't know, you might look at this Cup of Joe here and think, yeah, that's me, Cup of Joe, because my name's Joe. All right, so easy peasy. Then we have our default application settings here, very nice and easy to set up. So if you installed something like Chromium, you wanted to change your default, you can just select it right here under web and so on. So very nice. Decide to change your video player, there you go. Then we have our date and time settings and our format, 24 hour by default. That's pretty cool. I prefer 24 hours personally. And excellent. And then finally about. So this tells us a little bit about our install and the equipment that I'm running on. So it's using about 11.5 gigs of RAM. This is an i3 processor with an HD Graphics 3000. Then of course this is Ubuntu 21.04, which is the latest, came out in April, which was only a couple months ago. And I think probably the next one is, I think they're 6 months apart, if I remember right. Could be wrong, might be a year. And then we're running 3.38 GNOME. However, I really like the way Ubuntu has the GNOME structured much better, and we're running Wayland by default. Very cool. And I did notice at the login there that and the drop down, the Xorg was the secondary choice. So yes, instead of running X Windows, we're Wayland by default. Nice to see. And then we have our software update settings here, which is where I just was. So this is another way to get into this little box here, in case you wanted to set your proprietary and stuff like that. From there you could do it. And of course your update settings, and typically I would just leave all this stuff pretty much default. For security updates, if you prefer not to download or install these automatically, then I would probably, my other choice would be display immediately, and that way you know that there are some security updates. However, When it comes to security updates, I guess I'm okay with install automatically because things are delayed in Ubuntu, so I'm sure they're pretty well tested. And with security, you can never be too quick to react. So there you go. Wow, the settings. Yes, I'm thinking if I was wanting to use GNOME, this is kind of what would make me happy, would be using GNOME with this kind of setup. It's a little bit more comfortable for me. I can also have my icons on the desktop. So yeah, I think Ubuntu has really kind of improved a lot in the way they laid things out over the years. And so I like the fact that you get to have your GNOME with some of your choices back as well. So I'm liking that. It's good. I could see myself installing Ubuntu on some other machines laying around. So excellent. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. And there's that AntStream. Well, I gotta tell you, I took the plunge. I decided to create an account because I didn't want to deprive you guys of what's in here, just in case it's something good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to log in here. All right, now we're at the display name. And what should I call myself? How about JK? That sounds unique. What? This is an insult to my greatness. How about Anon7? All right, cool. So now we got this big screen of avatars. I guess I'll just check anything. Which one looks like me? I would say this strapping young lad right here looks just like me. Whoops. Oh, Space Invaders, that's cool. I think I'll go with that. Okay, so now we hit got it. And it looks like we got a whole bunch of stuff we can browse right from our page. I don't know if this can beat MAME Arcade because it's totally free on MAME, but hey, why not take a look? It's all fun. So here we can kind of scroll down and wow, there's Joust. I remember that. Wow, there's a classic. I'm going to click on that and just kind of see how authentic that is. Wow, it looks just like the original. That's really cool. So yeah, I'm not really sure how you get into there. Okay, not that way. Defender. How did that come up? It was reading my mind. Wow. The only problem is, I don't know how to get into it. So they're showing you all this stuff, but for some reason, yeah, I'm not really seeing right off the bat how you can actually play that. Maybe hit this guy? Maybe it's all fake. Let's see what that thing is. Tournaments. So there's where you can get in there and play against other players. That's kind of cool. Messages, achievements, which I have none. And then I think these are your user settings. Nice. Search. So here's where you can find something specific. And let me just specifically search for, I don't know, like Defender again. Okay, it looks like if you look for it through the search, then you have an option to play. So I guess that's really the way to go. You probably want to go through the search area. So I'm going to hit play here and see what happens. And right off the bat, it's kind of giving you the keys on here. That's really great. That's good to know because I was just kind of wondering what you had to do. So it looks like the Z, X, and C, hyperspace, smart bomb, and fire. All right. So I got to remember that. And then our arrow keys for moving and enter to start. All right. I think I can remember all that. Let's see if I can mess this up. I'm going to crank up my volume a little bit so we can see how the sound effects are. And I'm going to go ahead and start. That was hyperspace. Wow. It's actually pretty easy to maneuver once you get it down a little. Ah! Yeah, I didn't want to hyperspace, but kaboom! Well, I gotta tell you, this is really the arcade experience. Never really expected that I could find something like that you could tap into online, but that is really cool. Double thumbs up on that. Yes, thanks Ubuntu. I never would have discovered it without jumping in here and getting your Ubuntu apps there. So very cool. Now I just got to figure out how I would jump back out, probably on the burger menu, and so we could quit out of there and okay. So absolutely looks like there's a ton of stuff in here. Great sound effects. I mean, it's 100% authentic. It looks like they're using the actual original ROM from the game itself. So I'm really liking that. Just a little bit of a challenge to navigate, because I don't really know how to navigate around in here. Continue seems to be my only option. So I'll just hit that. Looks like that takes us back here, so that's pretty cool. So then all I got to do apparently is just jump back in here into the library, and then I can just continue on if I wanted to find more games. So that's really cool. I'm really liking it. You could kill a lot of time in here, I'm telling you. And so yeah, it looks like in the featured games here they got just tons of different things, and they got them sorted out by genres: new games, multiplayer, arcade adventure. Yeah, some stuff I haven't seen in here in a long time. If you don't want to take up all the space of storing main ROMs on your computer, because they can really add up space-wise, this looks like a really nice alternative to be able to get in and just have access to all your favorite games right here. And pinball, wow, how cool. I haven't played pinball on a computer since like the early Windows days. Nice. So wow, just a ton of stuff. And I guess we can slam into a quick pinball. And that time it worked when I clicked on the icon there, so that's cool. Apparently just clicking on the icon will get you in there. Maybe the first time it was still kind of percolating, I don't know. But here we have our left flipper tilt control, so I guess you can shake the machine there. Launch the ball with the space bar, and the right shift key is the other flipper. Nice, alright. Cool. I really like how they have the key stuff there set up right off the bat. That's really cool. So, there it is. Got cool music in the background. I'm going to go ahead and start this and just check it out. So launch the ball. What? What a punch. Hey, that's not reacting very good, so maybe it's just this cheesy machine. There we go. Yeah, a little bit of latency there going on, but I think that's probably my PC more than anything, because this is an older machine, older hardware, and probably not the most powerful thing in the world. Or it was temporary network latency. But yes, it really does have the pinball feel. I'm going to hit that tilt there. Yep, it does shake. Nice. And again, the latency got me, so yeah, bummer. But I think that all kind of depends on your machine. And then escape will get you out of it. Very cool. Alright, I hope that wasn't too much there, torture with the whole Ant Arcade thing, but I think that was really a worthwhile find. I'm glad I found that. That was cool. I'm going to have to probably load that on my Arch distro there and just kind of play with that a little more. That'll give me something to do when I have way too many other things to do. So anyways, I think we kind of covered everything in the Ubuntu, and I got to tell you, Ubuntu ain't what it used to be. I really like it. This is really nice. I feel really comfortable in this environment, and I think this is something I wouldn't mind getting into and using. I wouldn't mind loading it on the laptop or installing it for somebody that kind of wanted a Linux-based experience, as long as they didn't really care about having a Windows environment. But I would think somebody coming over from Mac would be very comfortable with this, especially if you just took this sidebar here and just put it on the bottom. But really a Mac user probably wouldn't even care if it was on the side, because they're already kind of accustomed to that kind of setup anyway. So I'm thinking the Ubuntu 21.04, and it's very similar to the 20 version actually, just kind of more updated I suppose. But I did have a quick look at the previous version, the 20.04 I think it was. They both worked beautifully, flawless, and I didn't really see a lot of difference. Probably a more updated GNOME version I would guess, but the 21.04 really performs beautifully. It's very snappy, and I really like what I'm seeing with this. So I think it's very well managed, and of course you got the power of Canonical behind it. You know that a lot of quality went into the developing with Ubuntu. So yes, I'm glad I went in there. I kind of feel bad that I was kind of ignoring it for so long, because I feel like I kind of missed out on its evolution a bit there, since I think the last time I was actually in there and playing with it was probably around 2012, maybe before. I just remember that when I was actually using it as a daily driver, Windows 8 was kind of the new thing out, and I didn't like Windows 8 because they were copying what Ubuntu was doing in a way where they were kind of focusing more on tablets, and it didn't work right in a desktop environment, or at least it didn't feel natural. And that was kind of where Ubuntu was at the time, and I remember not liking that really at all, or the direction it was moving compared to where it was a few years previous. And so I'm really glad they kind of came around a little bit. It sounds like they listened to their base, unlike GNOME. But I didn't say that, did I? Yes, I did. So anyways, they do listen to their users, and I'm glad to see that. And so really a beautiful setup here. They did GNOME right in this release, so I am liking this. 2 thumbs up for Ubuntu. And I think I'm going to have to give a thumbs up for the Ant Arcade too. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to mess with that a little bit more. Just thought I'd give you a taste of it. And so maybe this is kind of a dual review. Ant Arcade and Ubuntu. So there you have it. I hope this video was helpful. And if it was, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And hit subscribe. Thanks again for watching. And we'll see you next time.